Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. My name is Ethan Thornton, and I am joined by my brother in soccer, Grayson. On this episode of the City Boys podcast, we are going to be discussing St. Louis City's first win in 12 matches, incoming and outgoing transfers, including a new manager, and previewing the Portland Timbers. But before we get to that, Grayson, how are you doing tonight?
Brother, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back talking about some St. Louis City footy and especially a St. Louis City dub. I'm going to say it again, a St. Louis City dub. That's 3 points on the table for St. Louis City against San Jose, they are no scrubs, not this season. Last season, we would have said otherwise.
Look, coming off the back of, I believe, eight matches without a win or a loss. I was very glad to give them their first.
Yeah, glad we could help you guys learn a valuable lesson. Don't rotate your squad at St. Louis City. That is the lesson of the week. That is my point for San Jose. We'll have a different
For
point for
San
St.
Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah, check our next episode. Well, brother, I'm also very excited to be here. It
Yes, sir.
seems like it's been a minute, but of course, I am so excited to be talking ball with the boys. You may have noticed that we are one short this week. Well, Jacob is on a scouting trip for Lutz Fan and Steel, out searching for St. Louis City's next best player. Wish him luck. Send him your suggestions as well. But he will be back. Don't you worry about Jacob. He's doing just great.
He's somewhere in Germany right now. We'll catch up with him later, figure out where he's at.
Most likely attending a Bundesliga 2, 3, 4 game. Who knows where he's going to find this undiscovered gem?
Yep. We don't know. We don't know. But yeah, there has been a lot of movement in St. Louis City's roster. So we're gonna get into that a little bit later because there's been a couple outgoings, sadly, but we did have one big incoming, and that would be our boy, Critchley. Critchley at the helm.
The Scouse himself.
Yes, the gaffer is in, and you know, he didn't have too long to turn around before this game, and I've honestly been very impressed with his first week at St. Louis City, from his press conferences to the trainings I've been seeing so far. He seems like he's won over the team, the fans, the ownership instantly. Everybody seems to love him. I really love him. And
It says
it's the vibes. He brings good vibes to the club.
it says a lot about a team that has not won in 12 games that vibes can be good. And I love that he brought that immediately. He got straight to work once the announcement was made. And so far, David Critchley has certainly earned my respect. I'm going to be talking about him a lot more during my point as well.
Indeed. So let's talk about one thing that David Critchley was able to change for this first match, and he changed quite a bit. Let's talk about the starting 11 for St. Louis City SC versus San Jose this week. Uh, Honestly, I love this lineup. It is so interesting. When I saw
Mm-hmm.
that one, St. Louis City SC posted our lineup not in alphabetical order. They posted it in order of position on Instagram. So shout out Peter Wood or whoever's decision it was to change it up and, put it the rightful way. You confused
Surely
me.
Olaf didn't have any influence over that, right? I
No way.
mean, it's
No
a
way.
weird coincidence, or is it?
Or is
The
it?
City Boys on some real reporting here. We see the things that people don't.
Uh, but we have a couple big names back in this starting lineup, starting with Roman Berkey in net, holding it down. Amazing to have him back. And our back line is the first real
Very
question
different.
mark that we are presented, the first real shakeup. First of all, a four back. Critchley noted immediately that St. Louis City would be playing four back, and he sees that as a part of our identity. So I really loved that from him. In the back line, we had Jay Reed returning to the starting lineup as left back. We had Timo Baumgartel holding it down. This is where it threw me off because at first I couldn't tell if we were still in alphabetical lineup. I
Threw me
texted
for a loop.
Ethan. I texted Ethan. I was like, "Who is center back? Like, what are we playing? Literally just three back?" But no, Chris Durkin filled in
Hmm.
as surprise center back, and honestly had a game. He had himself
Did
a
a
game.
job. Did a job.
Did a job. Joey Zielinski as right back this match. Not too great, not too bad. I'd say right in the middle. More to come from him. The big one, boys, he's back in the starting lineup and instantly grabbing headlines. It's man of the match, Edu Leuven.
Team of the match day as well, right?
Team of the match day indeed.
That's my
Uh,
lion.
I gotta say, when that man stepped up to take the PK, me and many other fans in the supporter sections were going, Leuven, Leuven. And it was
It's
echoing
awesome.
throughout the stadium. It was just good vibes. Opposite day for Conrad Vollum, who had an interesting match. One of our lowest rated players. He would end up with a second yellow late in the match to send him off. That'd be Conrad Vollum. And then our attacking trio in the midfield, Celio Pompeu, Marcel Hartle, and uh, Cedric Teukert. Up top, we got João Klaus. We did have a bunch of substitutes in this match. We had, let's see, King Kess filling in for Durkin right at halftime.
Back.
Finally back in that 11 for St. Louis City. Very happy with that. We had Zonde Silva come in. I'm pretty sure, did he come in for No, Toykert, maybe?
Cedric Toiker in the first half due
Came out for
to due
Toykert.
to injury.
Yeah. Uh, Thomas Totland would
Oh
come
my
in,
gosh.
fill in this match. Didn't he come in for Jay Reed?
He did come in for Jay
He
Reed.
played more on the left side.
I can't remember if he played on the right side or if they switched Joey Zielinski to the left side. I'm ashamed as a dedicated St. Louis City podcaster, but I believe Joey Zielinski played on the left side.
Yeah.
Either way, I believe in both of them to be versatile enough to do the job.
Final two subs, we had Alfredo Morales and the goal getter, not the goal scorer, Simon Betcher, who earned a very important goal, PK leading to a goal to win the match here. So I will give him his flowers. Notes on this lineup. First of all, Ethan, let's circle back to it. What did you think of Chris Durkin as a center back?
Well, frankly, when it started, I was when the lineup was released, I was a little bit nervous. We have experience with Chris Durkin going forward too often, maybe at times getting reckless with his positioning, and I personally have questioned his discipline at times as far as positioning. However, against San Jose, I was impressed. I thought that he would have his hands full with their lineup. uh, Peyton Judd is by no means Chicho Arango, but he's also no scrub. Hernan Lopez has Maradona's blood somewhere flowing through him. He's an incredible attacker, and I believe that was on display. Not to mention, San Jose made great substitutions and did bring on Joseph Martinez and Christian Espinoza. So I was very impressed by Chris Durkin's first half, and I think I much preferred Henry Kessler at center back, and I'm very excited to see him go for an entire half. But it was really positive to see Chris Durkin play positive defensively. He didn't commit aggressive fouls. He wasn't reckless like we know him to occasionally be. So I was impressed with Chris Durkin, Grayson.
I'd have to agree. I think playing him at the center back position surprisingly brought him a bit of composure to his game that we hadn't really seen before. little bit better in possession. I think he does get to see more of the pitch when he's that far back. So his
Hmm.
passing was a little bit more improved. Good game all around. I'm not sure how often we'll see him deployed as a center back, but
It's
I'm
also a
not
little
mad.
bit.
I'm not mad.
Me either. Me either, because it's a little bit of a different role on the field, right? So instead of him having to maybe shoulder the workload of Edu Lovin and run all over the field, like you said, he has the field in front of him. He can read the game a little bit and influence it in that way. And so, yeah, like you said, for all those same reasons, I was really impressed with Chris Durkin on the back line, Grayson. I believe this is the first time we've started a game in the back four this season, and including two fairly young players in Jay Reed and Joey Zielinski. I was very impressed in how they kept the highest scoring team in the MLS, by the way, to no goals for 82 minutes.
Yeah.
It's I There were three substitutions in the back line, and I believe all of them were before San Jose scored a goal. So I'm not going to give anyone on the starting back line, except for Timo Baumgartel, because that was Joseph Martinez's man, a hard time about the goal that we scored. I thought that St. Louis City damn near earned a clean sheet, and so I was impressed with our back line going out in a back four in this manner.
Yep, I'd have to agree. This is nowhere near, I think, our starting back line, and they did a great job, at least for the half that these four were together. I thought they were quite solid. So, Critchley proving the haters wrong, and by the haters, I mean Olaf. Uh, on the offensive side, still a little bit of trouble for Hartl, Pompeu, and Toikert. Still not able to, completely bring back the form from last season. I think João Klaus and Edu Leuven really showed off their chemistry between those two. So it's really shows like how important and how much we still rely on Edu Leuven. Um,
Absolutely, Grayson. We've talked many times on this podcast about when he's performing well, so is St. Louis City. And what do we have here? But St. Louis City's first victory in 12 matches. Just, it's not a coincidence that it's a game that Edu Lovin gets a goal and an assist.
the last game that we won was an Edu Leuven game winner.
So
So
I love Edu. I wish that he wasn't so influential on the team for moments when he is out.
yeah.
However, having him back is immense right now. And I believe he also lifts up João Klaus. Seeing the two connect for their first goal was an incredible feeling. I'm not going to talk about it too much because before we go into that first goal and reviewing the game, I do want to quickly make a note on the attacking trio that you mentioned, Grayson, between Pompeu, Hartel, and Toikert. It's a very unfortunate to see Toikert go out with an injury in the first half, man. That really stinks because he's a player that thrives on confidence, and we know that you can't gain confidence sitting on the bench. It's not possible to impact a game and get confidence sitting on the bench. You can only wonder or analyze for yourself. Celio, I think, is showing flashes of pre-injury and that electrifying spark that St. Louis City need. And Grayson, I have to say, Pompeu, Klaus, and Jande Silva on the field are a very exciting trio, and I would love to see more of that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, we didn't get it for the start of the game, but Zonde did come in later the match. I didn't think he had the best day, Zonde, but I'd have to say he got like his first shot on target in a St. Louis City uniform. Like he got the
Mm-hmm.
most time in a
He
single
did.
match that he got so far. I'd say mixed bag for him. I saw a lot of hate on social media saying like Zonde Silva can't dribble or anything. I was like, yo. This is his like fourth game for City. Can we chill?
Mm-hmm.
Like before we start immediately hating on a player. We won for the first time, and this is what we're
I
talking
know
about.
that's the
Like, come on,
response.
guys. Like,
Dude, very well said. I can't remember who it was, so I'm not going to misspeak, but someone described it on social media as he's still knocking off the rust. So I believe that giving him that kind of time on the field is also great for him. I wonder how he and Cedric Toykert factor into the team at the same time, maybe on a rotation. I'm
Mhm.
not sure. That's a David Critchley problem, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be okay. I'd be mad if Toyker got injured, of course, but I wouldn't be mad if he was spending a little bit of time on the bench just to, refresh. We'll play, get Zonde Silva a start or two, and then Toyk, if Zonde doesn't set the world on fire, then Toyker, it's your turn now, We have the numbers to rotate a little bit, and even Betcher can play on the right too. He showed that last season. So
Well said, man. And with St. Louis City's injury history, man, like we unfortunately have not seen Rasmus Holm in a long time. It's really sucks, but we have a history of injuries right now. So I kind of love that logic of easing SETI back into it, unless it's really it's cut and dry time.
yeah, like
But
there's no need to rush Cedric in my mind. I want Alm to play a game so bad
me
someday.
too. Me
Someday,
too.
bro.
Well, Grayson, you ready to get into these incredible moments, these incredible players, and describe what they produced on this pitch?
Yes, sir. Before we get into it, I just gotta say, like, if you guys probably follow us on Instagram, you saw this on our story, but Jacob and I were in town filming a comedy show. Shout out the commas. But right before the game, we were just setting up, preparing for the show the next day. Jacob and I looked at each other, like, hey, where should we go watch the game? Should we go to a bar? Should we go back to your house? We were like, wait, let's just go to the match. 20 bucks, we made it within 30, like we had like 45 minutes to get there by the time we made the decision, and we ended up making it. Hell of a match. So
It was
glad I
tough.
went. What a day. What a game. Let's talk about it.
Well, brother, I believe that first half was a little bit slow. I think both teams were a little bit timid and they didn't want to give each other an inch. But then St. Louis City breakthrough in added time of the first half. Edu Lovin picks up the ball in the center of the park, turns and sees his buddy Joao Klaus running up the field and sprays a dot of a left foot pass. That's his weaker foot. I don't know if you could tell. I certainly couldn't, but that was his weaker foot. Edu puts a beautiful pass right onto the head of Jacques Klaus, who does a beautiful display of strength to win himself the header. And now he is in on goal all by himself. Well, the San Jose goalkeeper has a decision to make. And what does he do? What will he do? Will he come out? Will he stay on his line? Well, his indecisiveness impacts his performance. Zhao Klaus puts it away before Earl Edwards Jr. can rush out and save it. It's St. Louis City 1-0 before halftime, baby.
Yeah.
Grayson, take me through the supporters section when Zhao Klaus puts St. Louis City in the lead.
We got the perfect view of the keeper hesitating on this one. Shout out to Klaus for winning that header in the first place and then pushing off that center back, outpacing the other center back to get that ball first. He clearly wanted it more than anyone else. The key,
Absolutely
dude,
desire on display.
what is the keeper thinking? I have no idea.
Clearly too much.
Yeah, just that should have been a simple defensive clearance there by the keeper. He hesitates too much. Klaus knows that he can sneak it right under him. Great finish, regardless. Such a weird
Lovely
finish,
finish.
but
Yeah.
lovely. Great goal from the
Klaus is a
boy.
good.
Just
He has that in his locker, doesn't he? One of those, just a weird shaped foot on the finish. I think we're used to seeing those finesse goals, in the media, but yeah, Klaus gets it done however he needs to.
he will do it. And yeah, the stadium erupted. Jacob and I went absolutely nuts. I almost took my shirt off, but I didn't. That would come
Oh,
later in the match. But uh, we're getting through the match. It's looking more and more like St. Louis City are going to win this. And then 82nd minute, a cross comes in. It's a perfect cross from the left back from San Jose. Can't remember the name of him, but he skips it past Josef Martinez, one of the highest scoring players in the MLS history. Was
Third,
able,
right?
I think he's third or fourth, able to get a flick on it past Berkey into the side netting. Fine margins here for this goal. Unlucky. Timo Baumgartel gets beat, loses his man. It's fine margins. And
Less bad defending, more good attacking, in my opinion, on that goal.
yeah, this is actually like the first goal in a while for St. Louis City where I can say that I'm not mad at any of the defense in this, which is interesting. I think it's just, you know, recency bias. We're looking at a different back line, so we're not tired of them. But um, yeah, good goal there from San Jose to make it 1-1. And when that goal went in, I felt like the stadium deflated. Like we all felt like same old St. Louis City. We know how to just give it up in the end. We just can't seem to keep it out. But then,
Another goal in the last 15, man.
yeah, another goal in the last 15. Brutal. But an attack from San Jose leads to good defensive play. We play it out of the back in high pressure, and Leuven sprays a ball over the top to Simon Betcher, who does what he does best, and that's make offensive runs vertically. He just charges at the goal, and you just got to find him.
Hmm.
He beats his man with a header. It's a perfect touch. He's in on goal, and he textbook. He does this by the textbook. Takes his keeper on 1v1. As soon as the keeper's about to pounce, lays it off to another man. And the
You got to
keeper
be quicker than that.
clobbers him. Clobbers him. Instant pen, no question about it. St. Louis City, step up. It is Edu Leuven at the spot. Who deserves it more? Nobody. Edu Leuven is the man, and he would bury it just like he always does. No doubt about it. St. Louis City get 3 points thanks to that legend. Come on. Come on. Give me that. I'm still buzzing. Like
Oh my
that's
gosh, man.
yeah, we're in like a terrible position on the table still, but just like I said last week about Atlanta, it's the simple things, it's these little things that can turn around our season. We just need a little bit of momentum. And now I have more hope than I should, probably.
Oh, brother, I have been on the hopium, let me tell you. It has been a great week to be a St. Louis City fan.
Yeah.
Seeing you Lovin at the back of the net, seeing Zhao Klaus at the back of the net, seeing a fantastic effort from a team that has been lacking excitement and personally fire. To see that team with the gritty St. Louis work ethic that we know them to have was reminiscent of year one, absolutely for me. And I think that's why we came out on top this match. Grayson, you referenced that Simon Betcher goal, that picture of him essentially doing a handstand and his ankles are just as high as his head is in the air. I mean, it's fantastic. I love to see the effort. He totally baited the goalkeeper on that. You're right. That was fantastic attacking play. Yeah, really impressive stuff from the boys.
Dude, I bet that photo that has Simon Betcher literally uh heels over his head. I bet there's a big smile on his face because he knows what he just did. He's upside down, he's cheesing.
He did. He did. No. Oh,
Ah, he just
yeah.
won us a game. So just that right there, that earns him the signature on the contract. He's a great backup striker. I will gladly play this man. So he is what it is. Um, let's move into our points for the week, shall we?
Absolutely, brother. You want to go first or shall I?
Um, let let me go first. I'll go ahead and take it off. So, my point for this week could be so many things. We could do a tactical breakdown, smackdown with Critchley's back four, shutting down Olaf's theory that we weren't good enough to do it. Not only this, but against the highest scoring offense in the league.
A good
Um,
test.
it was a great test, but no, I'm not gonna get into that. We will, I'll give it a couple weeks and then I'll have a full analysis on Critchley ball. But I want to talk about what it means for St. Louis City to finally win a match. Because watching that game in the stadium and upon rewatching the match back on YouTube, the scenes at full time, seeing the players fall to their knees, embrace each other like we just won a cup. Players surrounding Critch, lifting him up, the entire stadium erupting with joy when we finally proved that St. Louis City are capable of closing out a match in a manner and in the manner that we did it. Obviously, not all problems are solved. We still let up a late goal in literally the worst moment of the match, 8 minutes away from another choke session. But this time, St. Louis City finally gets a break. Like, we've literally not had a single match this season where something lucky happened to us. It's always VAR, offsides, red cards, it's injuries, it's something. But this time it happens for us. And I just want to shout out the pure effort for both goals, the effort from Klaus, the effort from Betcher. Shout out both of our DPs who stepped up this match. They've been under fire recently for the amount of money that they get paid compared to the rest of the team, and the weight that they carry compared to the rest of the team. And they are showing it in this match. Much love. I hope these 3 points remind the players, the fans, the staff that we are capable of winning matches and we're capable of playing a beautiful game of footy. We can play offense. We don't have to play 100% defense. It's been a minute, but welcome back, St. Louis City.
Brother, I love that you talked about mentality because that leads me straight into my point as well. Because, yeah, man, it feels like St. Louis City soccer is back. This is the identity of St. Louis City. This is what has been missing from this team this season. Sure, the tactics that Olaf deployed may have been boring in some eyes, but that's so subjective. Yes, St. Louis City drastically underperformed expectations in the first half of this season. But what did we see from David Critchley's side in this game against San Jose, Grayson? Passion and mentality put on display, like you
Fire.
said, by both of those goals. Those were two men who have been in a slump, more or less. I think it's hard to deny that they have been in a slump. Going after it, taking from the other team their both of those goals happen because of their effort on the ball. They are clearly being defended very aggressively, and both times they shake off their man, win the ball, and then in the situation, win a penalty or win a goal. It was fantastic stuff from just those two strikers. Edu Levin was clearly showing a desire to be on the field. And while, yes, I am really happy that we won, there are a lot of other things to take away from this game. Like you mentioned as well, Grayson, a late goal once again really hurts to see, especially when Henry Kessler and Thomas Totland are in the back line. I would really expect with those two and Timo Baumgartel at least that we are able to maintain that clean sheet in the last 45 minutes. I will admit San Jose also made some great subs, but I don't buy it. I would have loved to see us keep the highest scoring team to a clean sheet.
Yeah, I agree. A clean sheet is next on the checklist.
And so, Grayson, the team passed the eye test on the field for the passion, the mentality, what I had been wanting to see Olaf Melberg get out of our team. And then recently, the city social media team released a video on YouTube, on all of their social media platforms. It's between the lines showing Roman Berkey and David Critchley addressing the team before the San Jose Earthquakes game. And both of them emphasized what is important to this game and winning 3 points for the fans. And it just shows to me that they know what is important at the club and that they know no fans, there is no club. And that's why there are 22,000 plus passionate fans with an entire first bowl that does not sit down for the entire game. It's truly special. And what I saw was a team that not only appreciates that, I saw a team that respects that and wants to win for that city. And so that's what I really loved about the performance. I think that's why so many St. Louis City fans are feeling so positive about the team right now, despite being in borderline contention for the wooden spoon this season. I do believe Montreal, Atlanta, and LA are better contenders, but to be in the top five wooden spoon contenders is still caca
Uh,
bad. That's not good.
yeah,
So that's my point for this week, Grayson, is its mentality has changed. I am really impressed by David Critchley in the short time that he has been able to implement. Maybe not insanely different tactical changes. Okay, we went back to a very familiar, I think, for this team 4-2-3-1. So I don't think tactically there was an insane shift, and that's the major difference that I saw was a mentality shift, and I loved it.
I love it. I love it. Final notes on this San Jose Earthquakes match because it is Kit Clash time, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It is time for Kit Clash, and we are going to compare St. Louis City's home kit versus the San Jose third kit from last season that they released. This is their little throwback kit. It looks like they got the Retro Quakes logo. It's
Yeah,
white. It's got kind of an orangish, reddish collar. Um, for me, I like the kit. The sponsor kills it for me. The sponsor absolutely kills it for me. It's a throwback kit with a modern intermedia cloud communications logo. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
yeah, I
Um,
agree.
just kills the vibes for me because otherwise I would almost like this maybe. Um, due to those minus points, I'm gonna give this one a 4.5. I really don't like this one. This is a rough one for me.
Brutal on that, Grayson. I'm much higher on this
Ruthless.
kit. I it is okay, how can I put this nicely? It's simple. It's not boring. It's simple. It's red, white, and has a sponsor in the middle. What makes this kit for me is the sponsor, or not the sponsor. Oh my God. That's the worst part about the kit, in my opinion. What makes it is the crest. That OG NASL crest from 50 years ago is so cool to me. Just now that we know the history of the San Jose Earthquakes, it is cool that they would incorporate that into their modern day club. I think that there are not many MLS clubs that can have even any kind of claim to that. So to be
Very
able to do
true.
that is really cool in the United States. And the red is, it is cool to me, but red and white, it's just so plain. Which
Yeah.
makes sense because it is an ode to a kit that came out 50 years ago. All right, they didn't have crazy patterns and textures on the jerseys then. They were basically
Hey,
burlap
yes.
sacks.
Uh, I will say that the MLS is going to be releasing new third kits this season. And I actually when I was looking to find this, I saw on Footy headlines the
Oh,
leaked San Jose third kit.
you saw what they did?
Brother, That thing is heat.
The Clash are back,
The
dude.
Clash are back. We're talking Scorpions. We're talking 90s green Nickelodeon ass jersey. Like it looks sick. I'm a massive fan. I just wish it came with a good baggy 90s fit, but
Mm.
we'll
Yeah, that
see.
modern fit on it is a little funky, but I love what they went for. To go back and rate the other kit real quick, I'm gonna say something like a 5.5. I can't remember what I gave it
Okay.
on TikTok. I love this third kit though. I when we were doing that research for the San Jose video and we first saw that Eric Winaldo played for the San Jose Clash, it reminds me so much of that jersey that I first saw him in and was like, whoa,
Mm.
I can't believe that was like the impact that was made in the league. And
Oh, yeah.
of course, learning about Jose Clash, the Scorpion mascot, and the
Yeah.
fact that they actually brought that back is really cool. It's hard to imagine myself wearing another MLS team's jersey. A San Jose Clash jersey would be pretty cool in my opinion.
It's tricky. Like I've been wanting to get like a good retro kit. If I do get like a retro kit, it would have to be like one of the Galaxy's 90s kits
You got to
or
get last year's Galaxy kit, dude.
I have I have a really nice one. I have the green
The retro.
green striped
Mm,
like remake of the 90s retro one, but um honestly, a Kansas City Wizards kit
couldn't do it.
would be pretty sick.
Couldn't do it. I know Tom Franklin is out there. Maybe he owns one. I could not do it.
It's hard.
I know
A hard
that.
one.
Yeah, I don't even care. I got no love for them, dude.
All right, moving on. Final notes for the day. We have a match preview for you. St. Louis City's next matchup is against the Portland Timbers. So, I wouldn't expect too much, honestly. Portland is a fantastic team this season. I think we've established that in our last episodes that Portland is scary. They are scary.
At times they are scary and they do have scary players on their team. I will admit their record is much better than ours at 7-5-4. Anthony has played pretty well this season for them. We've talked about Felipe Mora on extra time if you've listened. David DaCosta has caught my eye as a player to watch this season. I thought that he might be in contention for like a young player of the season kind of vibe, but we'll see about that. I think there might be some American bias there. The last time Portland and St. Louis played, we came to a 4-4 draw, and that was when St. Louis City conceded a 3-goal lead, and I believe Evander tied it up with a nasty free kick
Yep.
in right before the end of the game.
And hey, I will point out that we did beat Portland the match before that as well.
Mm-hmm.
We beat them, and then we were beating them, and they came back and tied it. Portland currently sits in fourth place in the West at the moment. They are flying high, but I will say they are in a kind of weird run of form at the moment. They were on a hot streak and then came up against RSL for a 0-0 draw. Seattle Sounders 1-1 draw. San Jose 1-0 them, and then Orlando 1-0 them, and then they got back to winning form against Colorado, who is a pretty good side. So St. Louis City have caught them in kind of a weird moment, and they've caught us on a new manager bounce uptick. Ethan, what do you think will happen here?
Hmm. Well, the last time St. Louis City played at Providence Park, Jacob was doing his best not to get kicked out of there. Ended up linking up with the St. Louis City fans, which is pretty cool. I This is somewhat of a toss up because I believe on paper, Portland would be the expected favorite in this match, but St. Louis City are riding that big moment in our season, our first win in 12 games, as well as a new manager. And like you said, Grayson, we don't have a huge sample size of Critchley ball yet. So I'm not 100% sure of what tactically to expect and just how well we'll match up against Portland. For all those reasons, I'm still very high on St. Louis because we have that new manager. So I'm gonna go for a 2-1 victory, maybe a 3-2 victory actually. So I'm gonna say 3-2 because Portland is a very attacking heavy team in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Xiao Klaus keeps his streak up.
Okay. I like that shout. For me, I'm gonna take the 2-1. Mm. I can't lie. Before this episode, I was gonna predict a loss. I was gonna predict a 2-1 loss. Just because I actually did not know that Portland was in this kind of form. I thought they were still flying high. I can't lie. I've kind of not paid attention to the last 2 weeks outside of St. Louis City football. I haven't really watched the MLS. I've been on the move. But I do think after this episode, I'm feeling very positive. I do think that Critch has injected some life into this team. It's going to be an away game, so that's going to be an interesting one. I think it's more realistic to say a 2-1 loss, but I am down with not bringing any negativity to this team that needs to be there. So 2-1
Understood.
win. Let's go City. I don't need. I don't think I've gotten a single prediction right this year. I don't want to be right. Give me a 5-0 City win. Let's go.
Dude,
That's
it
all.
would be it would be very nice, very nice to see the same kind of mentality displayed on the road, especially because we still have a struggle to close out games.
Hmm.
So to see us take a lead, even concede one, like go up 3-1, concede one late on, but hold strong, hold firm, and get out of Portland with all 3 points. I At that point, there's hope back in the season. Right now, delusionally, I think St. Louis City can make the playoffs. Rationally, I am like,
Uh, it's
okay,
it
buddy, but
it's close.
if I was arguing with another fan about it, I would say we're definitely making the playoffs. If I was keeping it real on the group chat, I might.
Chill
So
out.
yeah, we get a win against a top five team in the West like Portland. I think people are maybe starting to look at St. Louis City and you know keeping one eye open.
Fair. Fair. Any final notes on this week? Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good.
Noki Thorson, bye
Yes,
bye.
yes. Norky Thorson officially signed the Sparta Rotterdam uh, activated his release clause on the loan, so he has joined them after scoring 2 goals in 12 games. You know, he's had a decent start to them. He seems to be loving life. He got a new bowl cut. He's looking weird. So yeah, I think he just had a kid as well. So good for him, man. Good for him.
Congrats to
Uh,
Noki, man.
in other news, sad news, Giannis Horn. It seems as if his purchase option will not be activated and he will be returning to his former club. But it seems as if he will be transferring to a new club totally as in Austria, I think is the one he's been linked to. It's Rapid Vienna in Austria. They play in the Bundesliga in Austria. I think they're in like fifth place right now. I need to look into how that league works because they don't look very good. But
Interesting.
either way, if it is true that that is how it ends up, Giannis, we loved you, man. honestly instantly came into the side, spraying DMs to fans left and right. Dude, I remember when we signed him and we said, "Dude, welcome to the team." And he responded, and I was like, "We love this guy. We love him. We love him." Signed
we
him
made
immediately.
we made the mistake of a rookie soccer fan, which we are not, Grayson. We knew better than to do this, and we've said it plenty of times. We've said it about Simon Betcher. We probably even said it about Giannis Horn. You don't fall in love with the lone player in this game. Soccer is so unique in that sense, in that at the end of the season, the player that did so great for you might not stay. There's always a chance.
There's always a
So
chance.
it is a bummer to see Giannis go. I wish him nothing but the best. He put a big smile on my face when he gave me an autograph, and I appreciate that. I think another good vibes player, Giannis.
And then final outgoing, of course, Olaf Melberg officially leaves St. Louis City as their, I think, a third official head coach. So he was dismissed early last week. Honestly, I wish him the best. I think everyone wanted him to succeed in St. Louis City. And I don't know if, watching those pressers with Gigliani and Lutz, it sounded like they purchased Olaf because he was going to play the style that St. Louis City wanted to play. And then when he got here, it didn't translate and ended up playing a style completely different than what we were expecting. So
Mm-hmm.
just honestly, I hope he finds a club where he can be successful, because sadly it was not in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to see him dismissed, but happy to see the club succeeding without him. Sorry, buddy.
Do you think that the Aston Villa friendly in July is going to be a little awkward at all? I don't think so.
I don't think he's invited.
No, I
I
was. I think he'll certainly go.
You think he'll be there? I don't think he will be there.
Three things on Olaf Milberg. One, I'm not glad a man lost his job. I'm glad that St. Louis City got a new manager. I
Hmm.
don't think his tactics were the St. Louis City identity. And I do believe that maybe this is a case of analytics telling a story that an assessment by once an assessment by Olaf was made, could not the same conclusion could not be reached here at St. Louis City. So I do believe Olaf tried. I just don't think it worked out. Second of all, he has gotten very tan since leaving St. Louis City. I recently saw a picture online of him with Jack Grealish, which I thought was crazy.
And Jack Grealish.
And that'll take me to my third point, which is he was with Jack Grealish across overseas, looking very tan. And not only was he just hanging out with him, like Grealish had his arm around him, this was just a man that made Jack Grealish starstruck by his own words.
What? That's so crazy.
So it's just so interesting. What a very interesting overlap of soccer culture that has somewhat been created between Aston Villa, St. Louis City, and
Yeah.
just the things that are in our radar now.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they're both Aston Villa legends at this point in their careers, so it's just an interesting thing to think about. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, respect to Olaf.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing. It seems like he's taking it fairly well.
You
Hanging
know,
out with Grealish sounds not bad.
yeah. We don't have to feel too bad for him. He's still a world-class coach who's gonna have another job. No big deal. Move on. But
Hmm.
that is the end of this week's episode, this week's recap. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will have another recap. We'll get back to covering some more MLS stuff next week. Life's been crazy, you know how it is. But thank you for sticking with us regardless and continuing to support this beautiful team. That's 3 points. Come on, let's go. So, to all of you guys watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, throw a comment, uh, shout out your moms, shout out your friends, tell everybody to watch the episode. If you're listening on Spotify, throw it on a playlist. You never know. Share it with the homies, send them a link, give us a 5-star review. Follow us on all social medias, Instagrams. We're on BlueSky. We're on Twitter.
TikTok.
We don't really post too much, but we're on TikTok. We post on there all the time. So check it out. Last but not least, don't forget to tell your mother you love her. STL, STL, STL.